All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. So, for the second time since they've moved to Brooklyn, the Nets are staring at their third consecutive 50 loss season. At 15 and 45, the Nets season was basically over before it started. They lost their first 7 games of this campaign, while they've only won 5 games since the calendar shifted to 2026, and that includes them dropping their last 8. My biggest question, and I've asked this to people before, why does Sean Marks still have a job as a general manager of the Brooklyn Nets? Marks has been calling the shots for this club since 2016. And in that time, the Nets have only won one playoff series. And really, what else do they have to show for it? You've had 5 different head coaches under Sean Marks. The disaster of a big three that was Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and James Harden. Of course, James Harden got traded for Ben Simmons, and honestly, it was a clown show from the word go. The assets that the Nets gave up to make that super team not work. One shining example of that is look at what Jared Allen has become with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Remember, he was part of that trade to get James Harden to Brooklyn in the first place. And, going back to that failed super team for the Nets, they actually had something going before, those future Hall of Famers went to Brooklyn. Kenny Atkinson was building something as their head coach. The Nets made the playoffs with just a bunch of guys who just banded together and played ball. And they gave it all up. They went for the quick fix. The Nets and the word or the term quick fix does not, go together. And of course, they're really back to square one in more ways than one. And my biggest thing is this, okay? You moved heaven and earth to get Kyrie, Kevin Durant, and James Harden because they wanted to have cap space to go up there and get, a couple of star players, and they did. It didn't work. You ended up trading all of those guys. My question is, if you're going to trade those guys, at least get something back that's tangible that's going to make your team better. The Nets have not done that. Okay, this current Nets rebuild, if you want to call it that, appears to be on the fast track to nowhere. Last year in the NBA draft, Brooklyn had 4 first round picks. You've got to get something out of that, whether you trade up to get an impact player, trade them to try to get somebody, or maybe just basically find some stars or potential stars for yourself in that draft. What the Nets have to show for that is basically they've got 4 role players. Okay, that's all it is that they picked up in that draft. It's a different ownership group. Okay, for the Nets, I get that from when they first made to move to Brooklyn from New Jersey. But what impact have the Nets made since coming to Brooklyn, other than helping the Boston Celtics become a championship contender and simply just being a blip on the radar for the Hall of Fame careers of Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving? Because at the end of the day, you're going to have to go back and research, sites like basketballreference.com to even remember that a James Harden played for the Nets because that's how quick he was there. Now, make no mistake about it, all right? New York City is always going to be a Knicks town. But you look at it right now, the Nets ain't even putting up a fight, folks. Okay. I mean, it's like two different dynamics as far as what the Knicks are doing and what the Nets are doing. And again, you go back to when the Nets had their arrival uh, to New York City back in 2012. Brooklyn wanted to own the Big Apple, which was going to be an uphill battle to begin with, but they wanted to own it, yeah. But at this point, they're not even able to sublet, more or less rent. Okay, this is how bad that this product that the Nets are putting out there is. My thing is this: The Nets wanted to call, talked about, leaving Jersey, going to Brooklyn, making an impact, doing this, doing that. What have the Nets really done? And what was the purpose, okay, of the Nets leaving New Jersey for New York City? And this is the product that they're giving the Big Apple. I mean, if you watch the Nets play ball on television, what would inspire somebody to say, hey, you know what? I want to go down to the Barclays Center. I want to buy a ticket and I want to watch this team play. More often than not, if people are going to spend money on tickets to go watch the Nets play, they're really going to sit down to watch the stars on the other teams. You're going to sit up there and watch your LeBrons, your Lukas, your Giannis's, your Nikola Jokic's, and so many other great players around the NBA. Because guess what? The Nets ain't really giving their fans, if you want to call them that, anything to get behind. And like I said before, you got a new ownership group, but again, at the end of the day, to me, I think this futility starts and ends with GM Sean Marks, because what has he done to show that he knows what he is doing? He's been there for a decade now, folks. And again, we know about how it ended, with Kevin Durant and Kyrie in Brooklyn. It wasn't pretty. And okay, honestly, it really wasn't pretty when they were there. But nonetheless, since these guys have left, 32 and 50, 26 and 56, and they are well on their way to another 50 loss season. They possibly could flirt with losing 60 games this year. This is how bad that this Nets team is. Now, you want to hear and talk about tanking around the NBA. Okay, yeah, we've seen the Pacers get fined. Yeah, we've seen the Utah Jazz get fined. But where did the Brooklyn Nets fall into that category? I know that they're quote unquote competing, but at the end of the day, what are they doing to actually show that they are improving? Not a lot. Rebuilding is one thing. And I mean, I feel like the term rebuild can be a little bit vague, because I feel like you rebuild when you had something there in the first place. The Nets have really not had anything for quite some time. This is an organization that they tried a quick fix, and the quick fix does not work for them. They try drafting guys, and usually in drafting guys, they draft the wrong guy and they overlook some quality talent. We have seen this from this franchise for so many years. It's one of those, unfortunately, once in a while, they've gotten it right. Okay, you go back to the end of Dr. J's time with the Nets when they were still in Long Island, and of course, it was not pretty, but nonetheless, they seemed to get a reprieve, if you will, when Jason Kidd fell into their laps and they got to the finals a couple of times. You think about their failed, attempt at a super team upon going to Brooklyn, giving up so many picks for a Paul Pierce and a Kevin Garnett, who are at the end of the line with Boston. Giving up picks to the Utah Jazz to get Deron Williams. Then we saw what they did, as far as bringing in Kyrie and Kevin Durant. It just has not worked. And when you look at this Nets team, when you look at this Nets organization, all they are is a rudderless ship. And when you look at this Nets team this year, it's basically a glorified G League team that they're putting on the court each and every night. And this Nets front office, in my opinion, operates like they have no plan whatsoever. So you look at this and say, what's next for the Nets? I don't know, because typically, if a team is bad, usually, they could give their fans or people in general some hope to say, you know what? Okay, they're about to turn the corner, this, that, and the third. But again, you had 4 picks in last year's draft, and you failed to find an impact player whatsoever. It's one of those where the Nets, they're just biding time. I can't even say biding time. They're just taking up space right now, folks. And again, like I said before, if you watch them play on TV, why would anybody want to go and spend their money at the Barclays Center to watch this product that they put out there? There's nothing out there. It's one of those. We saw them give up, one of the Cams. They gave up Cam Johnson to the Denver Nuggets for Michael Porter Jr. And I said that Michael Porter Jr. was going to put up numbers, and he is. He's averaging 24 and a half points per game. But who else is around him? Okay, then you sit up there and you parted with Cam Thomas, who is now with the Milwaukee Bucks. And other than that, it's just a whole bunch of guys out there playing basketball coached by a guy that 10 years from now, nobody in the basketball world is going to remember. The Nets, regardless if they play in Jersey, New York City, Long Island, wherever, the Nets just continue to be the Nets. As far as the Big Apple goes, the Nets are always going to be the little brother to the Knicks. But right now, at the current moment, the Nets are not doing anything to change anybody's mind on that aspect. It's a horrible product that they continue to put out there. And again, the Nets have zero hope for the future. 15 and 45 through 60 games. Like I said, they are clearly on the fast track to lose 60 games. I don't know what the Nets' plans are this summer. If they keep Sean Marks to lead this front office, if you will, he's going to continue to guide this team to the futility that they are currently staring at. But again, like I said before, the Nets simply continue to be a rudderless ship. They have no hope for the present, and they damn sure don't have any hope for the future either. But folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And as always, if you like what you heard and saw on this podcast, you know what to do, folks. Just hit that like button as well as subscribing to this channel. And like I always say, it's greatly appreciated. Also, if you are on the X, formerly known as Twitter, you can check me out anytime at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you give me that follow, it'll be my pleasure to do the same in return. And that also goes for Instagram, where you can check me out at 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge. Also, if you are on Facebook, definitely be sure to check out the Sports Depot 365. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the better sports groups going on social media. But until next time, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care. And thanks once again for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.